Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Laura Rose, and today I'm going to be doing my 2015 wrap-up of my favorite books of 2015. If you're watching this, I am already at home for Christmas, and this will be my last video for 2015. I just want to say thank you to all of you. I started my channel in May. It's been an awesome year, and I'm really excited for next year. But for now, I'm going to talk about the ones that I already loved. I went through and I picked out the books I absolutely loved this year, the ones I couldn't put down, the ones that I was so excited about, and it turns out that there are 8 of those books. So, without further ado, let's get into my top 8 books of 2015. Number 8 is Holes by Louis Sachar, which I did as a throwback Thursday, something I had read when I was a kid and wanted to read again, and guess what? It was just as awesome as it was when I was a child. Literally could not put it down. You know what happens in Holes. I know what happens in Holes. I've read it a million times. I've seen the movie. Still freaking awesome.
And I actually have the whole song stuck in my head now after I picked this book out of my shelf. Like, dig it up, dig it. Dig it up, yeah.
If you haven't reread Holes recently, you really probably should. You will not regret it. Number 7 is Tiger Lily by Jodi Lynn Anderson. I read this after I saw it on Sam's channel from Thoughts on Tomes, and it was awesome. It's a Peter Pan retelling. It has this really heartachy feeling to it, and it's all about your first love and your first heartbreak, and it just brought me back. Number 6, Sabriel by Garth Nix. I just did a review on this. This is another reread of a book that I loved when I was a kid, and guess what? I still love it. Very excited to keep reading this series next year. Number 5 is going to be The Intern's Handbook by Shane Coon. I mentioned this book before in one of my hauls, and I think I talked about it in a wrap-up, but The Intern's Handbook was something I just pulled randomly off the shelf at the library. It was a thriller, and it was so cool. It was kind of like reading an action movie, but in a really good way. Number 4 is another one that I didn't get a chance to review. It is The Martian by Andy Weir. The Martian actually is made into a movie starring Matt Damon that came out this year, and I was like, oh, I obviously have to read the book first, which I'm glad I did because it was freaking awesome. And the movie was also really good. The Martian is a sci-fi story about a man who gets stranded on Mars and what he does to try and survive. Number 3 on my favorite books of this year is 10% Happier by Dan Harris. I didn't really know where to put this book on the list because it wasn't a book that I couldn't put down necessarily, but 10% Happier, which is a memoir-like book with a great storyline that also talks about beginning a meditation practice, changed my life. I can already see the changes in myself as I've started meditating, and while it's like a long, slow road to get there, I'm just amazed that I could read this book that literally affected my life so profoundly. Number 2 on my favorite books is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 3rd in a trilogy. You can go watch my reviews if you haven't read them yet, but you should definitely pick up this series if you like fantasy. It is so good. And The Hero of Ages was, just like the way that you want a trilogy to end, that's how it ended. And number 1 on my favorite books of 2015. I feel like this is going to be a big surprise for you because I just finished reading it last week. Seabiscuit by Laura Hillenbrand. This is one of the books that I put on my unhaul TBR list. One of the books that I said I had to read it within the year or else I was going to give it away. And oh my gosh, this book was so awesome. Somehow she gives so much detail. I mean, this is a big book. There's a lot of storyline. There's a lot of exposition. There's a lot of narrative. But I still wanted to read. And I'm like, wow, this is a book literally written about some horse races. What? It's so good. I couldn't put it down. I had the biggest book hangover when I finished this because I was just like, wow. So epic. The fact that all this really happened just makes it that more exciting, which is crazy because you guys know fantasy and sci-fi is my favorite genre, and this is just a true memoirish history story. Seabiscuit won this race. Sorry. If you guys have read this, let me know because I would love to chitty chat with you about it. Any of these books, leave me a comment. Let's talk about them because that's what I'm here for, to talk about how awesome all these books are. Let me know what your top favorite books of 2015 were. If any of them are the same as mine, make sure that you like, subscribe, and come back next year for more videos. And as always, have a glittery day and a glittery new year. Thanks for watching. See you next year.